That's how I feel.
It's like, Gary Vee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, like, document, don't create.
Love
so
that.
There you go.
Love that.
It's more authentic.
Yeah, in the beginning it was all creation.
I know.
Stuck in my bedroom thinking about what to post and all that. Those over. It's good? All right, here you go. Let's see if this works. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming out on a beautiful, what's today, Monday, to start off with a foot workshop. Okay, so we'll get moving. Oh, I hope we get moving. Let me see. So hello everybody, my name is Dr. J. I'm the founder of PhysioX. We are a holistic physical therapy practice geared towards chronic injuries. And we explain a lot more about what's the difference between treating a chronic injury versus an acute injury and what's the foot and everything else had to do with all this stuff. And it's my colleague, Dr. Adrian. Before he was a physical therapist with us, he was the head of...
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There you go. Baltimore Orioles. And currently, he is a head physical therapist at PhysioX. He's overseeing the majority of our clients. So why do we exist? Well, we exist because traditional rehab had failed many people with chronic injuries. So traditional rehab is really good for acute injuries. So if you twisted your ankle last week and there's some swelling, you go to a traditional practice, there's gonna be some compression, maybe some ultrasound, and it's gonna get that swelling down, return some of the range of motion back, and things are pretty good, but it doesn't really work for things that's persistent, things that's been lingering for a long time, or things that comes out of nowhere with a really confusing origin. Well, you can no longer apply that same acute protocol for these type of populations. But that happens to be the majority of people living in pain. It's not those that just hurt themselves yesterday. It's the people that's been, just have this back problem for the last 2 years on and off. And those are the people that we serve. And our first client is my mother. So my mother worked in manual labor her whole life, immigrant, doesn't speak a word of English, very little actually. Put me through school, put me through graduate school, and when I graduated, she developed a bad case of chronic back pain. And I wasn't able to help her. Given all the knowledge that I've gained through my schooling, everything fell flat. She couldn't sit, couldn't stand, couldn't walk for more than 10 minutes, and we tried everything. We tried chiro, we went and got cortisone shots, we seen doctors, and it's just a bad sight for me to see, and that really what's motivating me to explore other parts, other knowledge to be able to find her some results that she deserves. So secret to success, the foot and the nerve system. So I read a lot about what other people are talking about how the body works, and they said the feet really changes the alignment of the entire body. So I said, what the heck, let's try it. So I just manipulated her foot, try some techniques that I learned, and lo and behold, her back feels significantly better afterwards. And I mean, she wasn't all done from just one little session like that. That's not how the body works, but it was significant enough that it warrants me to dig deeper into this topic. And present day, she's swimming, walking every day, can enjoy her retirement, and she's taking care of my newborn, which
He just had a baby.
literally like last week. So yeah, I got permission to come out and hang out with you guys today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Is it
that
boy or girl?
it's a boy, Beckham James Lee, boy name. This picture was taken yesterday. Oh, thank you. I'll let her know. Let her know that she got some fans. In 2021, and that's the birth of PhysioX, and that's when I was creating a lot of content. Create, trying to let people know this discovery that I found and see if it can help other people. So I talked a lot about spine, talked a lot about foot mechanics, and I talked a lot about rib cage and breathing mechanics and how that affects the body. Were some of you guys at Rachel's class? Okay, so you guys have probably a much bigger knowledge on breath work than what we're going to cover today, but they all relate. And after that, I was able to help over 100 individuals from all around the world virtually from that point on. Clients such as Emily from Alaska, who suffered from debilitating low back pain that radiated down her leg, and she's 29 years old with 3 kids and wasn't able to do much at all. And this screenshot was literally how she looked when we first met. She couldn't. That's how far she can go before she experienced pain. And a little while later, this is what she said. She created an Instagram post, because that's the world I live in that time. She said, "I often dream of a life of being active with my kids, sharing with them the gift that our body is and all it can be." And her pain was so bad that she said the girl's first words were, "Mommy, back hurt?" That's one of the first phrases. And I thought that was, it just breaks your heart that that's what they will first say. And so what ends up happening, she went on TikTok. You guys on TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's okay. Don't get on it. Don't get on it. Don't get on it. Well, she did find me on TikTok, and we started to have a conversation. We started working together on Zoom, and she said it was far-fetched to me that someone could help me with my back pain 100% remotely, and this was back in April 2022, and she could hardly unload the dishwasher, could barely pick up her kids, but after working with me after a couple weeks or so, and her back pain had recovered. In January 2023, she was able to deadlift 110 pounds, run and played with her kids every day. So it's a very touching story here. Or clients such as Tim from Baruga, New South Wales, a place I never heard of ever. 46-year-old with chronic pain in his feet, went through multiple surgeries, lasted for 12 years, plantar fascia surgery, and wasn't able to create real changes until we started implementing some of the things that we're about to talk about today with the foot wedges. Or Leanne from Austin, Texas, struggling with pain for the last 12 years, working with multiple providers, and I remember she couldn't sit for more than 5 minutes. Imagine not being able to sit. She would always stand and walk around. And this was a comment that she posted on one of the videos that I had, I think last year. Said, "I'm watching this while sitting on a hard bench in rural Spain, an incredible life experience made possible by Dr. J and those amazing wedges." Which hopefully you guys are getting more excited about it. And then 2022 is when we started the first brick and mortar practice out in Needham, Massachusetts, about 2 minutes away. And this is some screenshots of what it looks like on the inside. And it also works in person. So this is Jesse, one of our clients.
UX after struggling with chronic, often debilitating back pain for the past decade, that paired with an injury from COVID, where I was then having pain with pretty much every single step I took in my Achilles, so that led me here. My biggest breakthrough at PhysioX, I think, was just on my first day, where there's introduction to the foot wedge, and after some exercises, immediately took away the pain I had in my Achilles while I was walking around. Most recently, I was able to deadlift for the first time in probably 2 years using a barbell and not being immediately injured the next day. I felt the treatment was really catered to the specific issues that I was having. They were immediately identified, and I think the team here, truly anyone could benefit from working with them. I came to...
So Jesse, actually, if you guys know Rachel's husband. Yes. So now you know a little bit more about her than she probably wanted to disclose.
Yes. After struggling with.
That's him. All right, so what's the secret? It's the nervous system. I know we're going to talk about feet, but the nervous system is really the thing that we're trying to affect through the feet. The nervous system works like a GPS. It's always going to find you the most efficient path to get you from point A to point B. So the first time you guys come to EMPWR, you guys probably use a GPS. If there's a highway, it'll take you down the highway and get you here. If the highway's closed, it's going to take you to a bunch of different side streets. You're still going to get here, but you might hit more traffic, you might hit some potholes, and the overall experience might be less pleasant. And that's what happens when you have an injury. Instead of walking normally, you might walk a little bit deviated. You have a shoulder injury, instead of raising your arms straight up, you might deviate your body a little bit to find another path. And this is all happening unconsciously in your nervous system. So let's take a real life example to paint this picture. So let's say 10 years ago, you're playing soccer and you hurt your right hip. Now, the nervous system is going to call a big team meeting with all your different body parts, and it's going to ask, all right, how can we protect this right hip but still allow this person to be able to walk and move around the world? So what's the best strategy to offload the right hip? Boom. You limp. Limping is an interesting phenomenon because you never need to be taught how to limp. We're all born with that ability. We're all very good at it, actually. So if we need to offload the right hip, what do? We're going to want to hike the right hip. And when we hike the right hip, our whole body's going to shift over to the left. And what do we need to do after that? We need to side bend the rib cage back over to the right, but now our head needs to side bend back over to the left. And now, through all this process, we're going to change the way we interact with the ground. So we need to uplift the right hip. We're probably going to shift our weight towards the outside of our foot and walk this way. Now, some time passes, this right hip is going to heal. Most things do heal on its own. That's the trigger right there. Most things heals on its own. But your nervous system might still hold on to that same let's protect the right hip strategy for years and years and months. And what ends up happening is you might squat and you might favor one side. You might shift to one side. You run and you walk and you're going to favor one side. And it's unbeknownst to you. And then one day you develop like a left shoulder pain or you develop a back issue. And you go to a traditional rehab practice and what do? They go straight to the source where you feel the pain. They're going to work on your back, they're going to work on the shoulder blade, they're going to work on the shoulder. But if they're not paying attention to how everything is interconnected and relate to one another, you may feel good, but when you start moving again, the pain comes right back. So what we try to do is shortcut this and really give you a full approach where we can address the whole entire pattern instead of body parts at a time. So we call these compensations. I like to call them detours because it makes sense in my world of traffic. So what do we do about this? Big question right here. And that's what we're going to talk about it.
Can you go back to that last slide and just tell us what's going on with her body? Like I can see it, but could you just describe what you see there?
Oh, sorry. I've been looking at these stuff so much that it just comes so obvious to me. Yes.
We talk about this in class, so I think that it'll really
right.
resonate.
So this person is shifting her body, her hips over to the left, but of course we can't just drop the bar, so she has to side bend her body back over to the left this way. So she squats like this. So when you squat like this, you can notice that you're going to have more compression on one side of the spine versus the other side of the spine. Now, can this happen just because you don't want to put weight on the inside of your foot? Yeah. If I put all the weight on the outside of my foot and I squat, guess what? I'm going to be pushed. But if I have more planted on both feet, I'm going to come down a lot more even. So instead of trying to work on hip mobility and working all these different things that's tight, why don't we change how things interact from the ground up and let everything else kind of fall into the right place versus shoving them into the right place that we think is shoving into the right place?
Thank you.
Good question. So what do we do about this? Well, we show the GPS where the highway is again. Allow the body to feel a smoother path. Like if you're driving these side roads the whole time, if no one told you about the highway, you're never going to take it. You need someone to show you where that highway is. And that's where the wedges will come in, which we'll talk about later. Now let's talk about, just real quick, about the connection between the foot and the shoulder, all the way up. So this is a client of mine, shoulder issue, done a lot of rotator cuff type exercises, a lot of the traditional things you might have thought of in your head. And this is how he raised his arm, volleyball player. You can almost visually see the highway close, the side streets happening, the scoliotic curve. He's not someone that has scoliosis. That's not part of his human being. But that's how he's presenting when he starts to move around. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, we start to see what's going on with the hips, what's going on with the feet. We have a displacement of the hip, uneven on one side versus the other, and a foot that's a little bit turned out. These are just compensation or side streets that we see. And once we're able to, this is kind of like what I think about, like a Jenga game that's been played with. Now, we've done some full body movement to help the nervous system rediscover the highway again, to just understand where the true center of body is. So the hips are a little more centered, the foot's point a little more straight, and guess what happens? All the movements start to return up top. Now, this is not something that took months. This is something over the course of 15 minutes or so. And why is it so fast? Because he doesn't have an injury to his shoulder. He's dealing with compensations that were left over from past injuries. And when we're talking about compensations, we're talking about the nervous system, and the nerves act quick. And that's what we're interested in. Had he come to me and he hurt his shoulder 2 weeks ago, would this still work? Probably not, because the healing needs to occur. But since we don't need to have that, we can see these type of results. So why the feet? Get into the good part. So Gary Ward, he is the inventor of these foot wedges. He's the person I learned from a lot, just looking at his modules, taking his courses. It really changed the way I practice, changed the way I look at the whole body. And he wasn't a doctor, he's not a physical therapist. He was a ski boot fitter, and he fell in love with feet. So what he'll do, someone comes in, get his boot fitted, he'll put little wedges in their feet, and they go ski. Some people come out and they say, I feel fabulous. My shoulder feels good, my neck feels good, everything feels good. And then some people come back and they say, Gary, I feel awful. Everything felt awful. My neck feels awful, my shoulder feels awful. So what he discovered was small changes in somebody's foot reaped unexpected rewards in other areas of the body. And he went on this deep rabbit hole to understand biomechanics, physics, and how everything relates. So why foot wedges? Well, the foot wedges help you feel the ground differently. This is your friend that helps you find that highway that might be missing in your journey. So it's not the same as orthotics. I get this question a lot. Orthotics would trap your feet in one position, so you're exchanging short-term relief for future problems. Because when we stop one joint from moving, you're gonna need more movement from other joints to make up for it. A very simple example, if my shoulder can't reach all the way up here, but I need to get up here anyways, I might use my back. So I'm gonna need more range of motion coming from my back in order to make up for the loss of motion at the shoulder. This principle applies, but to all the little bones at the feet and how it triggers through the rest of the body. So in today's class, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through an individual foot pressure scan about a plate here. When you step on it, what it's gonna do is gonna tell you where you put your weight on your feet. Now, you can still be 50-50, but you can still be like this and be 50-50. But sometimes it can be very interesting to step on it and think you're feeling even, and then you realize you have a lot of weight on the outside portion of one foot versus the other. Well, that tells us some piece of information that could be useful. Now, it's just one little information, but I just think it's a nice way for each of you to just experience a little bit of this. Then we're gonna go through a little bit of talk about how the feet works, the mechanics of the foot, and how all the bones have to move when you walk around. Then we're gonna use some wedges for you to experience movements a little bit differently in your body. And at the end, we're gonna have a Q&A for you guys to ask any questions and a special offer that's valid for today. Sounds good? All right, good. Any questions so far about everything I said? Good. Everything makes sense?
Yeah.
Excellent, good. That's what we like to hear. All right. So this is the plate right here. I think what would be good, I'll just bring it up here a little bit. Just trade spaces. This might not reach. No. We're good here. Yeah, we don't need the power supply. Just make sure this is, you're good. There you go. There you go. Who's going first? So, all you're gonna do, you're just gonna step on this, and when you step on it, you're gonna see foot pressures here. And I just wanna make sure this is the right one. Like that. So you guys can all stand up, gather around. Gather around. Yeah. All right, so Adrian will be giving each of you guys a little bit of description about your pressure and what it all means. And we don't, no one's perfect.
Kind of do their best.
No, you don't do your best. You do.
No, what I'm saying is, don't you think, like, I'm definitely going to stand out and try to be really even.
You can't help.
I was like, watch this.
Yeah.
Yes.
The beauty of it is,
Okay, good. This is what I wanted to do.
you wouldn't even, you can't even do it. You can't trick it. Exactly. That's what I love.
Good.
I tried.
Yeah, you can't trick it.
Yes.
All right.
That's what I
Who's first?
Just come on up.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, Christina.
You can just, oh, that way you can sit.
No, you can go face this way.
Oh, yeah?
So you can't even look at
Oh,
the
right,
results.
right.
But everyone else can look. Everyone else can see what's
Just
going
stand
on.
straight forward.
No, I can't even imagine.
Oh, okay. She's pretty even.
She's a dancer.
Yeah.
I'll bring it over here and we can show you. So that's you over here.
Oh, very good.
So pretty even, I would say. A little less pressure on the heel side, but that's, I think you're in pretty good shape.
All right.
Not much
Good
there.
job.
All right, you come on
There
up.
it is. Yeah.
Nice. Good one to start.
Yeah, next.
Come on up.
I just went like that. I am not going even. Don't even.
That's all right. Just
see, let's
stand
see.
right
Don't
down
even
there.
think.
Yeah, you're not bad either. Let's take a look.
Oh, wow. See
Pretty
how
good.
fierce these ladies are?
Yeah.
See
Good
how
work.
Strong and even they are?
Good work, good work. And then come on up. Well, actually, anyone dealing with any kind of injury or issues in the moment?
Yep.
Yeah?
I'm not gonna, I wanna see.
Okay, all right.
I have a feeling how this is probably gonna go.
All right. Come on up, Sarah.
I like her real careful to step
Can
on
you-
if that's gonna change it.
Separate your feet a little bit.
There you go.
All right. Adrian, want to take
Yeah.
this one?
So not too bad in terms of like balancing out, 54, 46, that's okay. But you definitely do not put a lot more pressure on the top front of your right foot. So if you see, for example, on your left, you got a lot more surface area here. So you spend a lot of time on your heels, particularly probably maybe the right a little bit more than the left. But this is what I mean by like big toe pressure or front foot pressure, because if I just go like this, see how this map just lights up and gets bigger a little bit
Yeah.
more? So you're missing a little bit of big toe contact and
Okay.
overall front of the foot on that right side. Now, which side is it that you're having some issues with?
Left.
Left side.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
could be, it's a nice piece of information. It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just because you're having your issues on the right, maybe it's the left that needs to be worked on. That's the thing.
I was the same
Going
thing.
up.
It's like my left side, my right side.
All right. Cool.
Yep. Same thing right here. A little bit off in terms of like being 50-50. That's pretty good, but definitely a lot more time on the heels. You can spread your feet out just a little bit wider. Yeah, there you go. And you can look straight forward first so you get everything. But same kind of story here. A lot more pressure on the heels. You can see that by the green and yellowish that's more emphasized on there. And a lot less time on the front right of the foot as well. And a little bit on the left. So where's your issue that you're doing? The right. So maybe just a little bit less comfortable pushing off that front of the foot or being more towards the front on both, but definitely more the right than the left. So just a nice little piece of info. Yep.
It's your right knee.
Same thing, but hip width apart, and you can just stand straight in the front. Good. Probably go a little bit closer. Good. And not too bad, but if you turn, you're going to affect it a little bit, so just keep standing straight forward. Yeah. So this one for Gina. Gina, you spend a lot more time on the left heel, both heels in general, but definitely a lot more pressure on the left heel. Same kind of idea. You don't like to spend a lot of time on this front right foot.
Yes.
Or the left, and I could definitely see a little bit maybe of like a, what people would say like a little bunion formation.
Yeah.
So your body may be just uncomfortable loading into that because maybe that's a little bit sensitive. So that's a nice little piece of info
So if
there.
I have a bad raised knee, does that,
It could definitely affect
Try
how
hard
you
to get
position,
even.
how you stand. Yeah, for sure. But just a little bit of info there.
All right.
Same thing, straightforward. Let me know when you feel like you're standing like you're normally standing.
Now.
Good. Okay. So a little bit of 60-40, spending a lot more time on the left front of the foot and left heel compared to the right heel and left front of the foot. So her weight is more shifted towards the left.
And I have pain here and here.
So maybe her body's just subconsciously avoiding putting a lot more pressure and weight onto her right side, which is affecting how she loads through her whole leg and even up into her arm. So not bad overall in terms of pressure, but definitely a little bit more on the left.
Oh, she's like,
You might be the last one, I think.
no, yeah, no. I think
Yeah, you're the last one. All right. Good. Okay. So not too bad with weight, but you don't like to put a lot of weight on your right heel. So you spend a lot more pressure on the left heel You can see how indicated by that red. Yeah, you can even it out.
I need to like be real.
Yeah.
Get real. Okay.
I would still
Same.
say the same. It's
Oh,
a
same.
little bit more pressure on the left heel and the left front of the foot than the left heel, but overall not too bad. But definitely,
That's good.
definitely a little bit less time on that left heel versus the right. And I would say probably left big toe joint overall compared to the right. But dealing with anything, any issues?
I mean, I just always, this shoulder hurts. But
Left shoulder? Okay, interesting.
All right.
Can I ask a question? Does your
Not too
dominant
bad.
side play into this at all?
Yes, definitely play into it. But most people will be a little heavier on the right side, not because you're righty or lefty, it's because our organs are heavier on the right side. If you look at the anatomy, the diaphragm's heavier, so most people would want to sit into the right. But just because you have an issue on the right side, if you see a malalignment on the left, it still makes sense because what happens on the left would change how the right would work. Like if I'm walking and I'm avoiding big toe pressure here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna shift. This is all gonna start changing. I tell people there's no such thing as right and left side. That's just how we as humans like to categorize things and make things simple for us to understand. But in local movement is really just kind of all random. But we gotta make sense of why things are happening. What is the body trying to protect? All right, very good. Now, I'm gonna forget about all of this, but if you guys wanna step on this afterwards to see, cool, feel free to do so, and see if some of the aches and pains or whatever you guys feel feels different afterwards. All right, so we're gonna start into the movement assessment. You guys can stay right here. I'm gonna talk real quick about the foot and how we're gonna use these wedges, okay? We should give a warning next time that everyone wear thick hoodies.
Oh, we can turn the air off. Yeah.
Oh, that was an option.
But we were all sweaty. Most of these ladies just finished a weightlifting workout.
Oh,
We're
good.
Sweaty and now we're cold.
And we had like double the people in here.
All right, here we go. So the foot has two shapes, only two shapes. So it's very simple, but not really, because there's a lot of bones in those two shapes. Okay, so I'll bring this to the ground. You guys can see. So when we go and we walk, we take this knee over on top of our body. The foot needs to absorb our body weight. So it's going to go into a pronation position, which is this, called flat feet. But yeah, flat feet is actually a good thing. We need flat feet. If we can't go into a flat position, we don't load into the tissues here and we can't bounce back up. Most people who think they have flat feet, they just have a foot that's more tumbled over. So that's what we call overpronation. So for a flat foot to happen, a couple of sequences needs to happen in the body. This heel bone needs to be able to tip down and rotate in, and these bones need to be able to open up. That's what needs to happen. It's normal. And then when we resupinate like this, there we go. Looking from the front, as we bring our shin forward, it should automatically start to rotate in a little bit to allow this motion to happen. Most of us do not do this very well. We find side streets to get this done. If this bone is stiff and we try to go, nothing moves and we get a pinch in the front of the foot, or we go and this bone doesn't articulate well, these bones don't open up well, we just drop the whole foot. Now these are all little detours. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a wedge. Let's say this bone doesn't really tip down very well. We use a wedge here as a ramp, it's physics. It's gonna help us rotate this down to encourage this motion to return and watch the rest of the sequence start to come back. So the idea behind these movements is we don't want you to force something to happen. We want things to return back to its natural state. So allow things to fall into place, let gravity do the work, not your muscles. Let the bones fall. Now if this bone has some trouble going in this direction, we might shift the wedge here and do this. Now if these bones have trouble opening up, we might put a wedge here and open up this way. Now, this is very important. These bones need to open. If these bones are really stiff and they don't move and we need to walk and do this and push off, what happens now? Instead of spreading out and pushing off normally, what we might get is a dumping in and a push off this way. Bunion formation. Now, everyone wants to tackle the bunion at the site of the bunion, but bunions don't just happen for no reason. It happens because of a malalignment of stress. So maybe the solution isn't to just address this, it's to address this whole entire piece, and then that would take off stress in the bunion because you can return back into a more normal weight of moving.
So you can cure a bunion without surgery?
You can improve them, but it depends on how severe the bunion is.
Okay.
Like if it's really severe, I mean, the bone is malformed, we're not going to be able to do much of that. But I think we can take off stress in various other ways. Hurts less, and you can still function very well. And I've seen bunions, some bunions are malleable, some bunions aren't stuck. They're still like, okay, you can still move it. Those cases, we have seen bunions return back to a normal state. Yeah.
How does plantar fasciitis affect the movement that you're showing us with the foot?
Good question. So the
We just have a
plantar
lot of people
fascia.
that have experienced it.
Yeah.
Plantar fascia is at the bottom of the foot. Now, if these bones don't move, imagine plantar fascia doesn't have the ability to lengthen. It doesn't stretch. It's like my bicep, if I never let go of my bicep here and I'm keeping it like this the whole time, it's gonna feel tight over time. It's not gonna feel great. So returning its full capacity, its full range of motion, is gonna be very helpful for something like plantar fasciitis. And the only way to do that is to be able to fully experience a pronation motion at the foot. Think about the plantar fascia like a sling. Like if you want this rubber band, the sling to work, you need to stretch it, right? You need to pull it back and then you let go and then it snaps. That's the beauty of this tissue. But if your foot never does this, it never gets that spring. So some of the things we want you to experience today is maybe a little bit of a stretch in your plantar fascia. That would be a good thing. But if you guys have active pain right now, don't push it. Listen to your body still, right? Listen to your body before you listen to me, even though I may seem like I know what I'm talking about. All right? Okay.
Sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
Tell me about shoes, because as the foot's going into full pronation, it's becoming longer.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, sort of, right?
It's getting wider, yeah.
So you want some space in your shoe to allow your foot to fully pronate? Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
can you make some recommendations on that, like things to avoid or maybe look for with shoes?
right. So for shoes, I am not endorsing these shoes.
Fair enough.
To tell you right now, I think the shoe box is a little too big. But these shoes were really designed to help give more breathing room for the shoe. I just think it's just a little too big for me. So go into a shoe. Exactly. Go inside a store and try them on. I bought these online, and that's kind of like where I went wrong. So for shoes, generally, I like to recommend you kind of bend them. Like if you can bend them, like right now, this have a little bit of a give, but it's not like, right? If it's too flexible, you're gonna have you need some really strong feet to be able to wear really flexible shoes because there's no support. And if it's too supportive, well, that's gonna stop those intrinsic muscles of your feet to really work. So you want to find somewhere between. So it's a little bit of work for you to bend the shoe and then twist. The twist is your support laterally and the ability for your foot to go and twist into those shapes. If there's no twist at all, well, now it's prison. If you can't do this, you can't do this, you're wearing like cinder blocks. So I don't love those shoes. I love them when you have an active injury. Like if you just hurt your foot like a week ago and you want that extra support, I think that's fine. Or if you're running like a marathon, it's like a really stressful event, wear more supportive shoes, it's fine. But for everyday moving around, I like somewhere in between. So this type of shoe is something in between. If you guys can go ahead and feel these later on if you like as well. This is called Flux. Like I said, I'm not endorsing this. So you don't like it, it's not because of me. Yeah, there's plenty of shoe stores around. And I say try them on. That's the biggest thing. All right, here we go. It's at 10:30 already. Okay, perfect. Come on up and stand up.
We have until 10:45.
Okay.
We have the room until 10:45.
Oh, perfect. You guys have time until 10:45?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Then we might be able to do a little bit more. Okay, first we're gonna do a little assessment. We're gonna have you guys move around a bit and just kind of notice how your body feel during this, okay? And if you guys can do this without the mat, that'd be great as well. So you can really feel the hard ground underneath you. No, it's right here. Just around. This is perfect. This is perfect. All right. So go ahead and just round over. Okay, and come back up. Good, good, good. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel tight in some places, some pain in some places? You feel something there? Okay. Just kind of keep this in your mind, just what you're feeling, and come back up. Good. Hands on your hips, and just arch back. Good. And how's that feel? Good. Some shoulder. Okay, good. All right. So you guys can yell it out, but definitely keep that in your mind because we want to recheck that later on. And I'm not going to remember any of this. I'm like, just one thing at a time. I'm an awful multitasker. Okay. That's right. It's a fact. All of them, actually, not most. So reach down to one side. Good. And then reach down to the other side. Okay. And how's that feel for you folks? Okay. All good there. Tight on one side versus the other side. Let's go rotate to one side as far as you can. And then rotate to the other side as far as you can. And who feels tight one side versus the other side? Okay. Okay. A little bit. Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. So let's see a couple squats. Okay. Good, good. Nice. How's the squatting for you guys? Good, good. Some good squats in here. Good job, coach. Some good squats in here.
You're so strong. It's
All right.
teamwork.
Okay. Very good, very good. All right. We're going to work one move. That's it. But if you get this one move right, it can do a lot. So even if you don't mind just kind of giving everyone a set of wedges while I explain. So I'm just going to show off my feet. You guys don't have to, just me. The one move is this. I take one foot in front, keep my chest tall, and I bring my knee forward, and that's it. But try not to lose height. Don't lose height, because why? This is gait. This is walking. All right? This is walking. This is gait. So just bring that knee forward and back. If you guys notice what's happening with my foot, if I bring my knee forward, you see how my foot spreads out? My arch gets lower to the ground. And as I come back, the foot arches. Right? So this is the move that we're going to be doing, and then we're going to play around some wedges to see how this move feel for you guys, with and without some of the wedging. Okay? And we'll do the same thing on the other side, just to check out the other foot. And bring knee forward and back. That knee forward and back. Does anyone feel any discomfort, tightness, or anything that's going on in their body doing this simple move?
My knee.
Me too. My right knee.
Right knee, left knee, okay. Got it. Got it, got it, got it. Okay, very good. Now this move, very powerful, because watch the rest of my body. You guys don't need to mimic this, but this is how everything all falls in place. If I bring this knee forward, I would like to see this shin rotate inward a little bit as this foot flattens out. And what I'm gonna get is a hip that drops, is a shoulder that drops, is a head that does this. And everything kind of falls into this place. I'm over on top of a foot. Just some rotation, some side bends, some dropping of the hip, and I walk, I do this. You ever seen runway models? And
Yeah.
yeah. And you will notice the ones that you like create stronger shapes in their body. And the ones that, I don't know what about this one, I don't like this walk. It's a little bit more stiff, it's a little less shape, all right? So that's because inherently I think we just are attracted to good, beautiful movements. It's innate. All right, now we're gonna add a wedge. So the first thing for most people, now there's so many different combinations of foot wedges that we can do. I'm just gonna give you guys a few where we find it's helpful for many people, because most of us live similar lifestyles. Most of us, sit on a computer. Most of us do similar type of exercises. One of the things I noticed is most people do not get movement in their calcaneus. It doesn't roll down. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a wedge, and let's do right foot, just so we're all together. I'm also bad at left and right. And we're gonna put,
I'll adjust for you. Go ahead.
Yep, and Adrian, go.
How far down?
So we're just gonna put maybe about this far down.
Oh.
Right there.
Yeah, not a lot, not a lot.
You got this upside down this way.
Good.
You can flip yours.
Now,
Same thing.
you want to stay heavy on that wedge. You don't want to go forward and lose contact
Beautiful.
on that wedge. So stay on that
front
wedge,
foot, front foot.
chest tall, and slowly bring that knee forward.
Yeah.
And just notice if that knee
this
slowly
half step
starts
would
to
be a little bit-
migrate towards that big toe.
Just up.
That's a good thing. Now, I forget who said they have knee issue and which
Yeah,
side.
it's
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Still,
It was
like,
on the
no
right
pressure
side.
in my-
No pressure in your knee.
Yeah, like there's,
Perfect.
yeah.
I'll explain why. Because
Say no pressure in your
Yeah,
knee?
there's like
Yeah,
no-
none.
How about for you?
Yes.
You go to left. Better?
So the reason why is because when this bone moves, it sends a cascade of event. This bone moves, these bones open up, this bone rotates in. Now if the shin bone rotates in, as the femur rotates in, that knee's pretty happy. If this shin bone rotates too fast and this bone doesn't rotate enough, now there's a twist in the knee. So maybe the knee issue is not a knee issue, the knee issue is the stiffness in the calcaneus. And some people might even experience more engagement in the glutes as they go through this motion right here. Good, so that's the first exercise. Now the neat thing about the nervous system is that when you show the highway to the nervous system, it's gonna wanna take that highway every time. Why sit in traffic when you don't have to? Why go to side streets when you don't have to? So take the wedge off. Now try to go do the same thing and just see if you can experience that same motion. Just feeling that heaviness on that heel as you go forward. Those have with the knee issue, do you still feel the knee issue? Is it still better than before? Or?
Yes.
Good.
It's nice.
So that's the nervous system. This is an exercise you can take with you right off the bat, right away. Good. Next move. Oh, not just switch side, other foot. So same thing. You're gonna put the wedge on. Just a little bit on, same thing. Bring that knee forward. And just be heavy on the heel and just notice what happens to your knee to just slowly swivel in towards the inside. Here you go.
So the wedge is to teach us the movement pattern, and that's the connection that we're making that we can duplicate without the wedge.
There you go. The wedges are like training wheels. You
Okay.
put them on to learn how to ride a bike, but once you get the rhythm of the two wheels, you take those wheels off. Because we don't want anyone relying on external stimuli. We want things to be, you just want you to have as little amount of stuff on you as possible, right? Just let your body work the most natural way it knows how. Perfect. Good. Now the next wedge we're gonna add is a 4-foot wedge. This is gonna help open up this part of the foot. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put it right here. So just a little bit, like this much, like this much on the instep of the foot, especially for those who have trouble feeling the big toe joint. This is gonna be,
Right there.
Take the green one off.
take the green one off for now, because we are gonna do the combination of the two in a little bit.
That's it.
And that's
Right
it.
here for you. It's all right.
And for those that already have it there,
Give you a
same
little
move,
less.
just bringing that knee forward,
Good.
but still remember to keep that heel
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah. There you go. Same
Now,
thing.
I remember looking at the screens here, a lot of you guys are missing some big toe pressure at one of your feet. So for you to experience this, might give you this whole nother sensation in your body. It's like, oh wow, this is nice. Now everything else is gonna fall into a different place. Forward and back. Good, how's it feel for people?
That was good.
Take this step back
Free.
for
I
me.
don't know how else to
A little bit
describe
more.
it. Like it feels
A little bit
free,
more.
Not
Yeah.
restricted.
And then just think
Good.
about like you're getting karate chopped at the
Good,
knee.
good,
Can
good.
you,
That's, yeah.
coaching a
But
squat,
before you were kind of like pushing on
old
top.
school used to always be butt back, butt back,
Yeah.
butt back.
And you can look straight
Weighting
forward.
heels, and we still drive from the heels, but we focus more on the ball, including the ball of the foot.
Good.
Including the
But
Keep
balls.
going.
But so many people, and me included, were for so long just at heels only.
That should be
Yeah.
a little
And
different.
so
Yeah.
in a squat, What would be a good cue for this?
Yeah.
A squat coming down, I like the whole foot. A little bit more on the heel is fine, but when you're pushing off, I like to push off the midfoot.
Okay.
Come back, because if I push off the midfoot, my hip can come and be involved in the picture. Versus when I put heel, I'm more likely to use my back to come up before my hips come up. And that's the same thing for lunges.
So midfoot.
Midfoot.
That's the
Mid,
location.
midfoot is how we produce force. Like if we walk, we push off the midfoot. We don't push off the heel. So when we train exercises, we got to think about what relates back to the most natural movement pattern, which is walking.
So it's a lot more glute activation.
Yes, pushing through the midfoot. All right. So now you can do a combination. Most people have stiffness in the midfoot and the heel, so we use the two wedge together. So we're going to go back on that same
come all the way
green
back.
wedge, the same amount that
Come
we
all
had
the way back.
before,
So you go from a
and
straight knee to a bend.
the black wedge right here.
Good. Now we're gonna put this one on here. Good.
And we do the same move. Stay heavy on the wedge. Slowly bring that knee forward.
Is it common to get more range of motion?
Yeah. Especially when we're talking about ankle dorsiflexion. Because a lot of time ankle dorsiflexion is only because the rest of the bones aren't splaying out now that dorsiflexion is doing all the work. So it's very possible to feel a lot more freeing in your ankle. And how's the two wedge combination feel for you folks?
Great. Like glue onto
Very-
my feet?
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Well, you don't need to because you
Oh,
just
you've been
learned
doing-
this and your whole body can
That
remember
opened up
it.
a lot more for you.
Yeah, it really did.
Hmm?
You can see your foot
Trust-
going, like,
The body knows what to do. You just got to get out the
Spreading
way.
out.
I'm
Right?
stealing what you said, like listen to your body first before you listen to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Stealing it.
Let me see
You
this.
ladies
Take
didn't
it.
hear that.
Just like you're getting karate chopped to the
It's a good
knee.
one, isn't it
Yeah,
good?
and then back.
All right. We're going to add one more wedge, so we use all three, and we're just going to support the pinky toe joint just a little bit like that. Okay? This, because sometimes when we have these wedge position, we lose pressure on the pinky toe because we're too far. So we have a little bit of wedging like this, and now we do the same thing. And just a little bit goes a long way there. Good. Nice. And we just do a couple more, and then we're gonna switch sides. As you do this, try to keep your sternum vertical. Try to go like this, because we're trying to change gait patterns. You can't tell someone to change the way they walk, but if they can experience the ground differently, they would walk differently automatically. Okay, now, other side. So we're gonna have a green wedge and a black wedge combination.
This one will go. We're just
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
these two. These two. For
Yeah,
now.
we'll go all three. We'll go all three.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll go all three. We'll go all three. Go all
How was that on your left knee
flip-flops.
before? Yeah. Nice.
three.
Talked about
great.
those a lot this summer.
Yeah.
Flip flops.
Look straight forward.
If you're going from your bed to the bathroom, fine. If you're
Not
walking,
fine.
yeah.
Go ahead and feel that.
Especially those bikini ones, because every time you walk, you need to scrunch your toes to flip it back up
There
to
you
you.
go.
Yeah.
I don't like those
Yeah.
because it teaches your toe muscles to do the work of what your arch should be doing. So I don't love those. I like the one, if you somehow do it and your toes don't scrunch, okay, let me know which sandals you got.
Yeah.
I would like to know. Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's
I'm
great.
just gonna help you along. Go ahead.
Nice, nice.
That's really good.
Good.
Helping.
All right.
Keep going.
So when you guys are ready, you guys can go ahead and get rid of the wedges and do the
Absolutely.
same thing.
Yep.
Because we need to, if you guys not ready, you guys can do a little bit more to wedges and then now do it without the wedges and see if you can still experience something very similar to what you felt with the wedges. These are great things to do before you work out. As a warm-up, does so much to the body. It just helps you line yourself up real nicely before you do your squats, your deadlift, your lunges. You're just gonna be able to feel much more grounded.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Really good.
Still good?
It feels like I'm allowing more, I guess, knee flexion. Actually,
Yeah.
it's more in the ankle.
Yeah.
Allowing my knee to come further forward, where before it's like, don't do that, 'cause
good.
it's bad for the knee.
Right.
If you learn these
Yeah,
safe, quote unquote,
Yeah.
movement patterns that actually are restricting
exactly.
muscular like recruitment.
And let's go back to the other side and just feel the other side the same way. Good. Good, good, good. All right. So, like I said, small little things. There's so much that we can do because what we use these wedges for is eventually we do this, then we drop a hip, then we raise an arm, and now we affect the upper body and the head and everything else, and we rotate this. Now with this move, what that does is, look, if I take this arm down, I am in a mid-cycle of gait, right? Does your mid-cycle gait look like this, or does it look like this, or does it look like this, or does it look like that? Because if one side looks really nice and the other side looks like this, you can have uneven force distribution as you walk. So you might feel good for the first minute, but after like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, oh, left shoulder blade, what's going on over there? Well, walking is not a foot movement, it's a whole body movement, but it all starts at the feet. Okay, good. Now we're gonna recheck the things we did in the very beginning. Just curious to see if you guys feel different, okay? Do a little forward bend. And come back up. Okay. Anyone notice a change? I don't think many people feel any bad things here, but anyone notice a change here? No.
I feel a change where it felt so tight in my hamstrings.
Now you do.
Before.
Oh.
But now I feel great.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. And I'll explain to you guys why this happens just from working on the feet. Hands on your hips and just arch back and tell me if you guys feel any different.
Yeah.
What's, what about it?
I don't feel it.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's really weird.
Yeah, come on up. And let's go side bend to one side. And then side bend to the other side. And who noticed the difference here? Yeah. Good, good. And then let's do a rotation to one side and rotation to the other side. Do you feel a difference?
Yeah, like it's not as tight on my right side
Yeah.
as it was before.
Very cool. Very cool. So why does this work? Like, why do we do some weird stuff with the feet and suddenly all these movements start to come back much more cleanly? Well, when we reach down to the ground, well, guess what? We need the weight to shift over towards our heels as we go down. As we reach back, our weight needs to go forward, and when our weight goes forward, our knee goes forward, and we need to go into that pronated foot position. If one foot pronates well, one foot doesn't pronate well, when we arch back, we might arch back with a little bit of a twist. And now we might feel some of that shoulder because of what's going on right here. When we go and side bend to one side, we need one foot to arch, one foot to go flat. Same thing on the other side. When we rotate, one foot needs to arch, one foot needs to flatten out. So we can return the movement back to the feet. Now we free up the motion that we can have the rest of the body. Let's say, for example, my feet's really stiff, it doesn't move, and I need to rotate to the right. Well, I'm gonna have to torque a lot more through my rib cage, through all this to get there versus let my feet move. I just open a lot more. So feet, very important. All right, cool. Does anyone want to hop on there and just check things out?
See if it's any different.
All right, yeah.
That was the worst one, so let me do it.
Are you?
Dr. J, can you just also, like in a lunge, we do a lot of lunges. So to apply what we just did, what would be a good coaching cue for the back foot
Let's go up.
pushing in the lunge?
So I think you have a little bit more. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't
So
remember
what
you
I
had
like to do,
before.
I just to tell people just to drop down and
Pretty
drop
good.
down the
You're pretty
knee
close to
straight
being
down.
at 50-50
Dropping
over
the
here.
Yeah.
down.
I
So
think
putting
you
more-
have.
it's a- I think
I mean,
that's
you're a little bit
one of
more on the
things
left
is not
heel
putting
here versus
load
the
on
right.
that big toe
And like I
joint
said, I don't know
on
what
the-
you look like
It
before.
depends
but
on if someone has
looking at
the big toe range of
Oh,
motion
wow,
to
okay,
do
then
that
you're
or
definitely
not.
not in the 30s
That's what
anymore.
could affect the knee.
and you're
That's
definitely
what
getting
could
a lot
affect the
more
hip.
big toe.
So sometimes
both
just stretching
sides.
into the big toe could do. We do
That's good.
we do sometimes a stretch like that with the wedges on the big toe because big toe extension is actually very important in walking because you need to be able to push off. And that goes to that like bunion conversation that we had before. If you have limited big toe extension, you're gonna push off more maybe towards the inside here, or maybe you just avoid it completely now because maybe the bunion's gotten so severe and sensitive that now you're only gonna push off from the side here. So using some of the wedges to get big toe extension back into it could really help.
I have a question about this, the workout motions. I do most of these classes from my living room in my pajamas and bare feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not wearing sneakers, so I'm doing,
I
squats
think
and
that's better, but.
I'm doing, these in my bare feet. Is that versus shoes?
I think it's great as long as your body can handle it.
Uh-huh.
As long as you don't feel any discomfort while you're doing it, because pain and discomfort tells me that your body's not ready for the motion. So you don't want to exercise and push through pain. It's not what it's about. But there's ways to exercise and also get better balance, get better alignment in your body. I'm not sure if Adrian touched on this. When you go into a lunge, you think about what's going on. My foot flattens and my foot arches. My foot flattens, my foot arches. When my foot doesn't flatten and I go do a lunge, I do this. I'm a lot less stable and I feel like I need to do a lot more work versus I let things naturally fall in place. My whole alignment falls right into this area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap up a couple of different things and everything will be good to go. All right, so big idea from today. Chronic injuries require a different approach than acute injuries. Whole body is interconnected, it's controlled by the nervous system. Your foot alignment affects your overall posture and alignment. Each person is unique and requires a unique solution, but most people can do better with some better foot mechanics. And I would love to talk to you if you have a stubborn chronic pain injury that doesn't seem to resolve through traditional methods like 3 months to a year, or if you're someone who's tired of modified exercises in your workout. we get a lot of people who work out and I had to do 4 different modifications because I can't do like the regular squat or regular whatever. Come talk to us to see if we can clean up your patterns. Fed up with doctors saying you're just getting old. My God.
My least favorite.
My God. Like you guys just saw the limited time that we did with the wedges, you guys saw some pretty big changes. Doctors are just not trained to look at the body biomechanically in this way. They are trained to look at symptoms, how to treat these symptoms, but we're really trying to dig a little bit deeper and understand movements. So today only, we're offering a free 30-minute session with us. What you're gonna get, what is your current movement pattern? So we'll watch you move individually, and why your pain isn't going away. What's the missing link that's causing your body to keep taking these detours? Exactly how you can address the root cause of your problems, and the time frame and cost it takes for this problem to go away as soon as possible. And you're also going to get a discount, a $100 discount on any one-on-one service if you choose to work with us in the future. So if you guys want to book a 30-minute session with us, so let us know after class. We'll get you all set up.
Thank you.
No obligations.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And thank you for coming. The foot wedges are yours to keep.
Add to cart. That's adorable.
Not my website, but it's someone else's website.
Very cute. Wow,
And
that's nice.
also, you're gonna get some video tutorials on how to use these wedges, because what's the point in having them if you can't use them? And you're also gonna get another live recording. I did a posture and core webinar a couple years back, still valid today. If you guys want to explore about how we think about the core and how we use it and how we think about posture and how we use it to affect everything else, this is a great webinar. You can also gonna have access to a PhysioX app. For a limited time, at some point they're gonna take it away, but a lot of information is organized here, foam rolling techniques, breathwork techniques, some of the wedge stuff is here. There's more. There's more. And a $50 credit for any future class enrollment. So we're working on developing a class in January 2025. It's going to be a cohort in which we're doing it for 6 to 8 weeks, and we're going to go through mobility, core, strength, and of course foot wedges. It's to help people regain optimal joint alignment. So just be lookout on the email. You guys have $50 off for whatever price that we decide to move forward with. Okay. And to sign up for the free 30-minute injury screen, you guys can scan this QR code, or you can text this number, your name and email, and we'll get you set up with an appointment.
And we're just missing an 8 on that lat. It's 5 8
Oh, okay.
Oh,
If you do, yeah.
888. Do we have the cards?
Yeah, I have a card. So I'm gonna give each one of you a card.
So
as well.
the number is also on the card.
Yeah, numbers on the
you.
card.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
For you.
Thank
Yeah, of
Can,
course.
Like if they're here 10 minutes early
Yeah.
for class, like use them before class to warm up.
Especially those that
You go to
saw
your workout
results.